may remember my TOT EP review, of which the bright and ecstatic bubblegum pop of Kero Kero Bonito suddenly went rainy and abrasive for a noise pop sound akin to the radio department, but with a bit more of a volatile edge. I can't really say I dug it too much. The songwriting was catchy and sweet, sure, but all the dark twists, including a tacked on burst of harsh noise, seemed so unnecessary. It's a bit like coating a Hershey's Kiss in cayenne pepper. On second thought, that doesn't sound too bad. So I guess going off that, it means that the sound that KKB were going for wasn't too bad either. I just reckon it was too inoffensive to stop me in my tracks, whereas the previous material like Bonito Generation and Intro Bonito had such a colourful, effervescent and bubbly charm to it that it was sure to leave its footprint stamped into the malleable brain matter of my memory no matter what I ended up thinking about it. Time and Space, however, seems like such a big step up from that, despite the fact that it has a few of the tracks from the EP, including Only Acting, the song that I thought could have done with a tidier and less tacked on execution of the Twee Mersbo noise freakout at the end. I still appreciate the lyrics. I think they're quite smartly written, drawing a line between public persona and true self, but in a fascinating twist of fate, even that track ends up making more sense within the context of the album, and even though I still think it's one of the lethargic and clumsy moments within the track listing, the transitions to and from the track are nicely done. This entire album is nicely done. The album makes sure to lead you into that noisiness, with the first thing heard on track 1, Outside, being a big fat burst of guitar distortion, like the floodgates of despair have unleashed upon us, and yet at the same time we can hear Sarah's soothing soft-spoken singing, and chiptune synth twizzlers that sound like they're wriggling out of a piece from the Cave Story soundtrack. So now I don't know how to feel. This album comes a little bit like a sun shower, one of those bright summer days where it's still raining, a bit humid, a bit feverish. I just love the fact that Kero Kero Bonito are starting to move towards creating an atmosphere. On both albums, Sarah Bonito's vocals still sound robotic and apathetic, but it's amazing how the instrumentals around her can just change how that mood starts to come off. Bonito Generation just sounds like she's having a lot of fun, and on Time and Place, everything just seems so much more confessional because of all the unique synthesizer compositions and the fuzzy guitars and everything. Fuzzy guitars! Fuzzy guitars! I love the group vocals on Sometimes with the acoustic guitar. It's like everyone's around a campfire having a good time, enjoying themselves. Swimming literally sounds like you're just doing freestyle through a big pool of lemonade. And I also love how seamless the jump from Outside to Time Today is as well. It's like one big rush of adrenaline, one big burst of motivation for you to just keep moving and moving. There is a lot of introspection about personal identity on this album, and so it makes sense that Kero Kero Bonito are starting to move towards a sound that is both sunny and melancholic at the same time. And with its very unique sound, and I wouldn't be surprised if Time and Place ended up being one of the decade's prized twee pop albums, just because of how in its own lane it is. I'm not saying that it'll necessarily be an influential album, but it doesn't need to be. The mood and songwriting here is just so spot on that I can't really deny this album if it's just dudes. And even more than that, I think this album is a great show that Kero Kero Bonito seem to understand what their sound actually is, otherwise they wouldn't have nailed it as good as they did. And although some tracks pop and shine a little bit more than others, my verdict for this album is a very strong 7 out of 10.